Hey guys, welcome back to Susan Shares. Well, as you can see, I have my best friend Angie from Conway. I have had her on Susan Shares before. Hey Angie.
Hi Susan.
And I'm so glad to have her again. I love to have her on Susan Shares. Well, Angie and I just got back from a very special trip. We just flew in from Los Angeles and we went to a very special conference. We went to a girls' what they call it, girls event at Los Angeles in Mosaic. And that's where my daughter-in-law, of course, is a worship leader, and Erwin and Kim McManus are our family. And so Jake is on tour, and he asked me to go because he couldn't be there, and he wanted family represented because Mariah actually put the conference together.
Yes.
And so we went, and we were very blessed at this women's event. And so really some really special things came out of that event that we really wanted to share, but one in particular thing that really stood out to us. So it was a kind of a trade of the way you view yourself when you say that's a fair statement. And what came out was and I'm gonna say it has to do with the way we view ourselves, which would be hand and glove identity. But it would be like, instead of saying to yourself, I am a depressed person who occasionally is happy or joyful, then you would say, I'm a joyful person who occasionally suffers with depression. And Angie, can relate to that because Angie, I know, because we've worked together a lot, because we're best friends for since we were 8 years old, and I know that really meant a lot to you in particular, because I know that I experienced depression in my life. I call it functional depression. I'll just kind of push through, although I know I'm depressed and I have to work through. And you've got a different kind of depression because it kind of puts you in the bed.
That's right.
And you have identified yourself before as depression, and God can't use me, and that kind of stuff. And this was very freeing for you because to say, I'm depressed, I can't be used, and that's the way that it was talked about at the conference. And instead to say, I am a depressed person, instead of saying I'm a depressed person who occasionally is joyful, to say, no, I am joyful. I am God's. I am a child of God. I am joyful person, but who also occasionally suffers with depression. That's a very freeing statement.
It is. It is, because I talk to myself about being a failure, and especially when I'm depressed, I'm saying, not out loud, but I'm saying, ugh, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing that God can do with you. God can do anything, but not with you.
Yes.
Because you're in the bed, you're depressed, you're not overcoming. You're not overcoming this. You've given in. You're in the bed, and this is my struggle. You're not. This is just give up. It's what I'm saying that to myself.
Yes.
And maybe we're talking. I don't even want to say the enemy, because I've got so much self talk, can I use that term?
Yes.
That is putting me down. And that redirect or shift in my thinking to make a decision right now to start telling myself every day to use that language and that thought that I am a joyful person. I have that doesn't mean I'm all the time and happy and giddy, but I have the joy of the Lord and the peace. I have that in me, and I know that when I'm in that struggle, that there's the other side, because this is temporary, and it's just because that's who I am. That's who God created me to be, and I can believe that and act on that and know that it doesn't define who I am. It's just something that I struggle with.
Right. It's something I'm going through right now.
It's something I'm going through. Right. That's right.
But there's something on the other side, because I am a joyful person who does occasionally struggle with depression, but it does not define me.
That's right.
Yes, and that's the way that I view that when, as I'm going through that struggle. Another example might be, you wanted to go through another example that really meant something to you, or that you heard at the conference.
Oh, about struggling with bitterness and forgiveness, and that sometimes we just identify ourselves as, I'm not a forgiving person. It's hard for me to forgive, and we take that on, and we say I'm not a forgiving person, and it kind of feeds your bitterness. And so instead of saying I'm generally a bitter person who's only occasionally able to forgive someone, I'm going to say to myself, or I could say and want to say, I really am a forgiving person, as you said, because I'm forgiven. I'm really a forgiving person who occasionally struggles with bitterness.
Exactly. It's a huge shift, and it's the most important shift because it's a true. It's truth.
It's truth.
It's truth, because I am a forgiving person who occasionally struggles with bitterness, but you're not a bitter person. who
And we
never
might
forgives.
even, excuse me,
No,
but we might even say that I'm a forgiving person who sometimes often struggles with bitterness. But the foundation is who I am is a forgiving person,
Right.
because that's how I'm created. That's what's given to me in the Holy Spirit.
We have access.
We have
because the Holy
access.
Spirit lives in us. We have access to that. But the struggle is always there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, the struggle will always be there. So God, help me. Help me. So I hope that shift means something to you like it did to us, because we can get stuck in the hole and live there. I am, and then we can be, Angie used the word kind of self-talk, and so you can identify yourself, and it can be a lie, and you can live there, and it can be the wrong identity.
Yeah.
And because it's not who God designed you to be, and it can get you stuck there. So absolutely live in freedom of who God made you to be. And because we can occasionally do whatever, we can occasionally be bitter, we can occasionally be angry, but we don't want to live an angry life, or live a bitter life, or live a depressed life. We want to live in freedom with Christ, and with an identity that He has designed us to be. And
Absolutely.
and so anyway, we hope that this helps in some way. We love you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.